are listening to Next Level Thinking on St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9.
Welcome back, listeners, to Next Level Thinking. I'm your host, Stephanie Hassett, and I have Caroline and Sana with me here today. For those who are just tuning in, we are discussing social media. In the first two segments, we discussed, social media, what it all is. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, we all know them, and we all use them every day, throughout the day. Sometimes even when we're not supposed to use them at work, but yeah. Social media. And we were talking about how it connects us, that we use it to stay up to date with news, with friends, with family, that we use it to keep people posted, to update others, share pictures, stories. Very fun and interesting, and seems also harmless, and we're socially connecting. But I think we were discussing, what is it? Is it really connecting us socially? Are we really making those social connections the way we think we are? Because we also use it sometimes to avoid, to escape, to escape reality and not be in the constant hustle and bustle of life and just come and unwind and sit on Facebook. But when does it become too much? When does it become dangerous and harmful for us?
So is that half an hour that I do after my work day? Is that too much?
I don't think so. I feel I do an hour, so I feel really bad now. I think that is okay. I think times have been changing. Most of the news is just to be found on social media. So you go online and you go on Facebook and you find articles, news articles, you find media clips. I know newspapers and news broadcasters, they use social media to broadcast their information. They know that that's where people go to right after work or before work. So they know, let's post some information on there. So I think that's fine.
So with that, you also say that it depends on what you're looking for on social media. What are you checking? If it's just the news, if I'm reading the news on social media, it's better than just scrolling down those memes and videos. And
I think it also depends on, how you're functioning besides it. And I think that's more important. So not per se what you're doing exactly on social media, but more how it's affecting your daily life. If you cannot do the normal things you're supposed to do, then it might have become a little bit too much. And then you can maybe even see it, is it an addiction? I remember a while back that I read the term infobesitas, wanting too much information, and that you're looking constantly for information and it overflows you. And it can be seen as a disease.
Is that similar as the fear of missing out?
Yeah, it has something to do with that, with the fear of missing out.
Fear of missing out. So what? I'm afraid to miss information?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You don't want to miss out, because what would happen if you don't know? You don't know, of course, but,
Well, I actually hear a lot of parents, for example, complain about their kids being addicted to screen time, to social media, TV, anything that just has a screen. But now that you're saying that, the fear to be left out, I guess that plays an even bigger role under teens and kids, peer pressure. I can't miss anything. Everyone is using Facebook. Everyone is using Snapchat. I need to have a Snapchat account as well. I need to post my life every time, every day, every minute, every second as well.
And then you start to compare the likes, what we discussed before, who has more likes than you.
Yeah, and it has to do also with being able to deal with gratification. It provides you instant gratification. The likes, if you post a picture and then you check it, how many likes do I have now? Oh, wait. Oh, it's growing. Oh, wow. So it can give you that instant gratification. And when it doesn't give you the likes, then you might feel bad,
So it has an effect on your self-esteem?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I can imagine, the likes are nice, but if you have this expectation that you have to measure yourself based on the likes that you're getting, it's also it could be harmful for your self-esteem.
Yeah, exactly. And also, if you're then focused on, I should get a better picture, then you're not addressing what's underneath it. And that might be that, you're not feeling okay with yourself. And then you start to make those fake pictures or be really focused on getting the likes and not starting or building your life in real life, building the connections that you should have.
Right. So now we're using it to get those likes, to boost our self-esteem, but that might not always happen. So now we end up feeling worse. We end up feeling, it's weird because we know that this is not our life, I guess, right? But because talking about that infobesitas, you said?
Yeah.
So being online too much?
Yeah.
Living your life only online?
Yeah, or that you have that need, that urge to find that information all the time and to seek that information. And, nowadays with internet, we have a tsunami of information sometimes coming towards us. And that is great. It expanded our world options to reach out to other persons, to get more information. So that's a great thing of the internet. But it can also overwhelm us. We need to learn to surf the waves of the internet in a way. Mm-hmm. And if you get overwhelmed and you don't know how to structure it or to make it, to have it in that kind of level that you're able to handle it, it can become too much.
So instead of that half an hour after your job, some people do it not just that half an hour, but after dinner as well and into the night and they stay awake.
And our brain has limits to what they can handle concerning the funny thing, more than 30 years ago, this was actually already predicted in a book.
Really?
Yeah, it was described in the book Future Shock. Okay. And it described that the brain, was overwhelmed and overflowed and actually already kind of predicted this. Interesting, huh?
So we're going online and I'm hearing like if you're online too much and you're too often and you're going for those likes. But what about the people that make their living offline? I mean, that's a new...
Offline or online?
Online. When we make their living online, that's a new career right now. There's so much things to do online.
I actually had somebody not that long ago who asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? Yeah, YouTube star. I was like, what?
Yeah.
But that's a new profession.
That is a new profession. So where do we say, well, you should not become a YouTube star because that is infobesitas, or that might get you addicted, or that's too much for you, and that's not healthy. While this is the world we live in on the other side. People are making money off of it as well. And so what do we do about this? Because we need that connection. This is the way that we live. Teens want to be part of it. Adults want to be part of it because we as adults also have the fear of missing out. So what is the
right balance?
The balance in that?
And in that sense, there is no disorder yet concerning infobesitas. It's just a term that's been going around.
Okay.
I think we should look into what kind of consequences it has on you as a person. And if you feel negative consequences of it, then it might become a problem. If it's positive for you, then it's fine. So in each individual case, you should look into it. Maybe for you, it's fine to do that half hour, but the other person is that half hour way too much already.
Right.
And the person that's making money out of it, I hope for that person they don't have that urge after work to go online that much either. Yeah. You know, if you work in a chocolate store, people say, are you going to eat chocolate all day? Probably not.
No.
So maybe
exactly.
they work on social media during the day, and when they come home, they have their real life. Really.
Yeah, I think that's it. That that real life is there, and that social media is not real life. That that on social media there is all these nice and beautiful pictures, but that it's fabricated. Most of it is fabricated. And I think the moment that you feel you're neglecting your personal life, you're neglecting your family, your friends, that you're isolating yourself, that your mood is changing. I read in an article that some people even get like psychological withdrawal symptoms from not being on social media anymore.
Yeah.
So then we're talking about addiction, guys, that this is getting really close to not being able to live without social media because you need it to survive. You need it to live. And that is when it becomes unhealthy for you. So I think we need to be mindful of that. But there's also other dangers because that's the addiction. But we talked about it a little bit just now about how hurtful people can be online. But also cyberbullying. That's an actual thing that people go online and gang up on either one person or spread information, fake information or real information, embarrassing information about a person to bully them, to make them feel bad about themselves.
So that is something that was always there, right? I don't think that's the fault of the online world in that sense. I think bullying has been always
Definitely.
there.
But it's a safer place.
Yeah, the
to
online
bully.
world makes it more easy to do without feeling guilty. So that's the risk of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's something that I think we need to teach our children and ourselves also to be aware of that and how to deal with that. And, you know, sometimes there are pictures that are being posted online that, you know, can ruin a career. And you need to be aware of what you post, what you share with somebody else. And this is something that we weren't doing a couple of years ago. So the world is changing in that sense with social media.
Yeah, so we have a lot of information coming our way. The world is changing, as you're saying, Caroline, but we also have to gain the right information about how to use social media because it just has such a big effect on us. We were talking about how it can become too much, how it can become addictive, how we feel pressure to use it and to post and to be perfect, and how that can affect our self-esteem. So I think it's also so important to educate everyone because it's from young to older, from big to small, small to big, on how to use this social media and how to stay safe on social media, and to realize that social media is there added to our actual life. More about social media and what you can do with it and how to use it properly and the psychological part behind social media in our fourth segment. Stay tuned to Government Radio 107.9, Next Level Thinking.
Next Level Thinking.
Being healthy is more than just eating right and exercising. It's also about practicing good hygiene. To protect your health and that of others, always remember to cover your nose and mouth with a tissue or napkin when you cough or sneeze. Throw your used tissue or napkin into the trash. Wash your hands often with soap and water, especially after you've coughed or sneezed into your hands. Alcohol-based hand sanitizers are also very effective, but you must use soap and water between use. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth. Germs spread this way. Avoid close contact with people who are coughing or sneezing. Practice food safety. Do not place cooked food where raw products have been prepared, and thoroughly wash your hands between handling of raw and cooked food. Avoid unprotected contact with sick and stray animals as well as spoiled meat. Remember, prevention is always better than cure. For additional information, call 914. This message is brought to you by the Department of Communication and the Department of Collective Prevention Services. Think tsunamis only happen somewhere else? Think again. They've happened in the Caribbean and will happen again. Plan to act. If you are near the coast and feel the ground shaking severely, see an abnormal withdrawal of water, or hear an unusual roar, take action and quickly run to high ground. This message is brought to you by the government of St. Martin.
I am Shanisha Robinson, your reigning teen queen, with this message. More than 80% of our economy is dependent on tourism. Our beaches are severely under threat by massive plastic pollution. We cannot continue to destroy our beaches as our livelihoods depend on it. The next time you visit a beach, please take your trash with you or put it in the bin. Keep it clean, keep it blue. This message is brought to you by the St. Martin Tourism Bureau and the Department of Communication.
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Mr. Mara, it's me, Earthquake, coming in Tuesday around 10. No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it comes, it'll shake all the sense and the sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking start and you know it's an earthquake, make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the doorway or any exit, and the stairs that may be broke up or even full of people. Elevator, avoid that because you might get in and then poof, how power gone, and you're stuck in a box without air. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls in an earthquake, that is bad news. Take care of yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drops and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, don't bother run outside and ask, you feel it? You feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on.
This public service announcement was brought to you by Sedima and the government of St. Martin.
Hi, I'm Dominique Fleming and I'm a communications major at Han University in the Netherlands. I chose this field to learn how I can effectively communicate to make a difference. Sharing relevant information and raising awareness about important topics like single-use plastic is one way I can make an impact. Approximately 8 tons of plastic end up in our oceans every year, ultimately killing or affecting marine wildlife. Do your part by reducing your plastic use today so St. Martin can be plastic-free by 2023.
Tired of having to search through written job applications? Is it costing your company too much to find suitable talent? JobOpportunity.sx makes paper applications a thing of the past. Find all of your recruitment needs in one place with live email updates, accessible from anywhere in the world, and it's free. Creating your profile is fast and easy. JobOpportunity.sx. Call 520-5279 for more info and take your business recruiting methods to the next level.
It's hard to make big changes in life. The energy, time, and commitment are often too great. That's why many men in our community struggle with their health. The Department of Collective Prevention Services is encouraging all men in our community to take the positive step and get checked. Schedule your annual medical screening, practice a healthy lifestyle by eating healthy, exercise regularly, and practice safe sex consistently. This message is brought to you by Collective Prevention Services, a department of the Ministry of Health.
I was deceived about the nature of my job. I was abducted and sold. All my documents were confiscated and money was withheld from me. I was isolated and confined to one area. I was forced into prostitution. I was forced to lie to authorities and my family. Now that you know, what will you do?
You can help by calling the National Reporting Bureau on Human Trafficking at 542-1553 or send email to naticotip@gmail.com. Human trafficking and exploitation. Please report it.
Do you have plans to travel for medical purposes or for a family vacation? Don't let an expired passport ruin your plans. Ensure that your passport is valid at all times. Schedule an appointment today to renew your identification documents by going online to appointments.stmartingov.org/services or call 542-0652. Remember, your identity is your responsibility. This public service announcement is brought to you by the Civil Registry Department.
Hi, my name is Ayana Durin and I attend the St. Martin Academy High School. This month, we learn about single-use plastic and how it negatively affects our environment. Did you know that human beings consume about 250 grams of plastic per year? To learn more about single-use plastic and how you can do your part, contact the Department of Interior and Kingdom Relations via Facebook. Let's all help reduce, reuse, and recycle so St. Martin can be plastic-free by 2023.
You are listening to Next Level Thinking on St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9.
Welcome back, listeners, to Next Level Thinking. Today we are talking about social media, about how it can add to our lives, but how it can also take away from our lives at times. We're talking about the positive and the negative of social media, how it can connect us, but also how it can disconnect us, how it can kind of take us away from reality and disconnect us from everyone around us. So about disconnecting, how should we disconnect, not from real life, but from social media so that we can be more in the present and in the real life?
Well, you know, sometimes people do now like a social media detox. Have you heard about that?
Social media detox.
Yeah.
I recently deleted Facebook from my phone. Is that considered a social media detox?
Could be, yeah.
Do you still visit Facebook on your laptop or?
I do, way less frequent though.
Yeah. But a detox, I would suggest that would be
Complete stop.
Complete stop.
Yeah. And then actually it could work. There was a research amongst a group of students, and they had to do a detox for like a week or 2 weeks. And so they were not allowed to go on any social media. They had to delete their apps, and they were followed. And they reported that after the 2 week, their concentration, their attention improved.
Okay.
And also, their physical and their emotional well-being also increased. So there is something to say about disconnecting maybe for a moment. So they had positive consequences or positive results of being able to disconnect from social media for a while.
So they had better focus. They were better able to concentrate.
Yeah, because if you think about it, social media gives us a shattered mind, right? You get so much information coming, and you're going from this to that. In the beginning of this radio show, I got a message. I got distracted, and I was like, "What are we talking about?"
So it's not only in the actual moment that you get distracted by social media, but also in the long term, the psychological effects on your concentration.
So it makes that your concentration is more limited, and it's more difficult for you to concentrate on anything at all.
I can recognize that, because that's kind of why I removed Facebook from my phone, because it was just distracting me. In a sense that, and when I was scrolling, and since Facebook now has all the new information and it's not chronologically anymore, you can just continue scrolling until forever. But also the urge to scroll. So when my phone was down, I was like, you know what? I have some seconds, some minutes to spare. Let me take up my phone and scroll. There might be something new on there, a new funny video. So that was kind of distracting me in my mind, because I was longing to look at my Facebook wall.
Yeah, and indeed, those moments, those empty moments of the day that we have, we fill them up with social media. Well, actually, our brain needs those empty moments to process everything, all the information that came at you, not even on social media, but just real life. We need to process information and get ready for the next moment. But we skip that by scrolling down to
overflowing ourselves with information.
So it might be good every now and then to take the break. I think the social detox is an option, but it's more also for people who feel that they're completely stuck in also, limiting their time on social media, that it doesn't work. And then you can see it as a protection measure to help yourself to delete that app. Then it's also not about control only. You can also not find it. You need to download it again. Then you need to have Wi-Fi to be able to download that app,
Right.
So you make it harder for yourself. And I think that might be an option. But you can also put in more structure. I heard of a family, for example, that, before they go to the table to have dinner or lunch or whatever, they put all their phones in a basket.
Okay.
There's no phones allowed at the table. And I kind of like that. There's time for real contact. There's time for real engaging.
So they disconnect from online life and they connect with offline life.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And that way you can listen and you can really see, hey, how is that other person doing?
And process that information that other person is sending to you.
Yeah.
Actually consider what is being said and what the other might feel, and genuinely connect and respond to that in that moment.
Yeah. But you still got to also stay in touch with the online world, especially if you have children who are on the online world as well. So, I think it's good also for parents to have a profile and be friends with their children on Facebook, for example, so they can follow. Maybe every now and then check like, hey, can you open it up for me, see how it's going? Because there's a role for us there as well to guide the children how to deal with that kind of world and that kind of obstacles that they might find there, like with the bullying. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, I think it's very important to check and to be there online with your kids when they're online, because it just happens to be that kids are way faster than us adults. Mm-hmm. So even if we think we're up to date with the latest, they're faster than us, and they found a new trend. And the scary thing sometimes, now talking about monitoring your kids, Caroline, is sometimes those videos circulate with scary subliminal or not as subliminal messages about either self-harm or And those are things that often adults don't pick up because, again, social media platforms have this algorithm. Thank you. Right. Looking for that. Has this algorithm to figure out what you think is interesting. And since me as an adult, what I think is interesting is not the same as what my child think is interesting. We are seeing different online content, which means my child is seeing things that I'm not seeing and vice versa, which means sometimes I'm not even picking up the things that my child is getting fed to them. So that's so scary. So that's very important that we're aware of those dangers lurking in the dark online.
Yeah, indeed.
Definitely. Yeah. So we see how social media can really affect us, how it can touch us in various ways, and how it can have a negative effect. But I like what you're saying, Caroline. It also has such a positive effect, because I don't want to completely use this episode to talk down on social media and to say that it's terrible, because it does connect in a way.
And it brings you something. You know, if you have a business, if you want to get PR for what you're doing, you know, even we as an association are really using social media to get the word out there concerning psychology.
Visit APAP-SXM on Facebook.
And APAP-SXM.com, our website. We even have a SoundCloud account where you can find the latest episodes of Next Level Thinking. And also if you want to rerun the one from season 1, they're also there. So, you know, there's a lot of advantages of using social media. And it connects us, it gives us a broader opportunity to share knowledge, to share opinions, and to connect to somewhere where you wouldn't be able to reach to before.
Certain events on the island.
Yeah.
It makes information very, very accessible, which is very good. We need information that brings us to a next level thinking, right?
Exactly.
If we get that information, we need that. So that's awesome about the internet and about social media. We were just trying to explain to you what the psychology is behind it, how we need and yearn for connection, and we want that feeling of belonging. We need empathy. We need that emotional contact with others. And sometimes it's just easier to do so on social media, and therefore we find that either as an escape or as a way to connect easier when it's hard for us to do it in real life.
And that instant gratification, right? In real life, you don't always get the thumbs up so many times as on Facebook or whatever.
Exactly.
Like her heart or whatever. And that might be something to think about, though. Shouldn't we also be a little bit more friendly to each other in daily life?
We should.
Each other a compliment.
Yeah, alike. In real life.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of hiding behind that screen, why don't we do that in real life? Why don't we give each other that positive vibe that we also do on social media when we see something that we like? We like pictures of strangers online. We
Stephanie,
can do that.
I give you a big like for this radio show.
Thank you, Caroline. I give you guys a big like as well. Thank you for being here with me. Social media has its pros and it has its cons. Thank you so much for listening today. Next week, we'll discuss mindfulness, because we've been discussing frustration. We've been discussing how we vent our frustration online. But we've also been discussing how online we can find a space to kind of just be zen and find our niche and withdraw at times and be offline online, if that makes sense. So next week we're going to talk about mindfulness. I think you might have heard about mindfulness already. It's been buzzing around, and we'll explain a little bit more about that in our next show. This program has been made possible by the Ministry of Public Health and DCOM. Please follow APAP on Facebook to stay updated. And don't forget to tune in next time to Next Level Thinking on St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9.